Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the Daily English Practice Channel. I'm your host, Anna.
And I'm David. It is wonderful to be back behind the microphone with you today, Anna. How is your week going so far?
Oh, David, honestly, I am running around like a headless chicken this week.
A headless chicken. That is a very vivid image to start the show with.
It is, isn't it? For our listeners who might be imagining a scary farm animal, don't worry. When I say I'm running around like a headless chicken, it's a funny idiom. It just means I am incredibly busy, doing many things at once, and maybe feeling a little bit disorganized or panicked.
We have all been there. My week has been a bit hectic too, but luckily not headless chicken levels yet. But this is actually perfect because today we are diving deep into a topic that everyone needs, talking about your schedule.
Yes, this is one of the most requested topics. Whether you're a student trying to organize study groups, a professional scheduling meetings, or just someone trying to meet a friend for coffee, you need to know how to talk about time.
Exactly. And it's not just about saying I am busy, it's about the nuance. How do you politely say no? How do you change a plan without annoying someone? How do you use those tricky little prepositions like in, on, and at?
We are going to cover all of that today. We have a packed episode.
A packed episode. There is our first vocabulary word.
I couldn't help myself. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, sit back, or if you're listening while commuting, turn up the volume. Let's master your schedule in English. Part 1, the grammar of time, at, on, in.
All right, Anna, before we get into the fancy phrases and idioms, we have to eat our vegetables.
Eat our vegetables?
I mean, we have to do the healthy, necessary thing first. We have to talk about grammar, specifically prepositions of time.
Ah, the triangle of time, at, on, and in. These three small words cause so many headaches for English learners. I hear mistakes with these almost every day.
Me too. I often hear students say, I will see you on 5 p.m., or the meeting is in Monday. It's very easy to mix them up because in many other languages, there might only be one word for all of these.
Right. So let's simplify it. Imagine a pyramid or a triangle. At the top, you have the smallest point. That is at.
At is for very specific, precise times. If you can look at a clock and see the number, you probably use at.
Exactly. I wake up at 7 a.m. The movie starts at 8:30. Let's meet at noon.
Noon is 12 p.m., a precise time. Also midnight. I went to sleep at midnight.
Now, here is a small exception that confuses people. We say at night. We don't say in the night. I like to read at night.
Good catch. Okay, so at is the tiny point of the pyramid, precise times. Now let's go a little wider. The middle of the pyramid is on.
On is for days and dates. Think of your calendar hanging on the wall. If you are pointing to a specific square on that calendar, you use on.
So days of the week. I go to the gym on Mondays. Are you free on Saturday?
And specific dates. My birthday is on May 5th. The party is on New Year's Eve.
Even if the date is long, like September 25th, 2025, we still use on because we are talking about that specific day.
Okay, so at for clock time, on for days. Now, the bottom of the pyramid, the widest part. This is in.
In is for big periods of time, months, years, seasons, centuries.
Let's give some examples. Months, my vacation is in July. Years, I was born in 1990. Seasons, I love skiing in the winter.
And also for parts of the day, except night. I drink coffee in the morning. I work in the afternoon. I watch TV in the evening.
So, David, let's do a speed round quiz. I'll say a time phrase and you have to tell me the correct preposition instantly. Are you ready?
I was born ready. Let's do it.
Okay. 4 p.m.
At 4 p.m.
Tuesday morning.
Ooh, tricky. It's a day, so on Tuesday morning.
Correct, because the main noun is Tuesday. Next, the summer.
In the summer.
Lunchtime.
At lunchtime, because it represents a specific point in the day, like noon.
April 1st.
On April 1st.
2024.
In 2024.
You passed. Listeners, how did you do? If you made mistakes, don't worry. Just remember, at is precise, on is days, in is long periods. Part 2, describing your schedule, busy versus free.
Okay, now that our grammar is perfect, let's talk about vocabulary. How do we answer the question, how is your schedule looking?
That is a very common question in business and social life. How is your schedule looking next week?
Let's start with the busy side, since you are running around like a headless chicken.
Yes. The most common word is obviously busy, but busy is a bit boring. We want to sound like native speakers.
One of my favorites is swamped. SWAMPED. I can't talk right now, I'm swamped.
It gives the visual of being stuck in a swamp, like heavy mud. You have so much work, you can't move. Another great one is hectic. It's been a hectic day.
Hectic implies a lot of activity, noise, and fast movement. If you are sitting quietly at your desk but you have a lot of work, you are swamped. If you are running to meetings, answering phones, and emailing all at once, you are having a hectic day.
That is a great distinction. What about when your calendar is full?
We say my schedule is packed or jam-packed. My Tuesday is jam-packed. The schedule for the conference is packed.
And if you have absolutely zero free time between meetings?
We use the phrase back-to-back. This is essential for business English. I have back-to-back meetings from 9 to 5.
That sounds like a nightmare.
It is. It means as soon as one meeting ends, the next one starts immediately. No break.
Okay, let's look at the positive side. What if you have free time?
You can say your schedule is light. Today is pretty light. I only have one email to write.
Or open. I'm wide open this afternoon.
Wide open implies you are very flexible. You can meet at any time.
Another casual one is free. I'm free after 3 p.m.
There's also a nice idiom for when you have a little bit of time in your schedule, a window.
Oh, yes. I have a window between 2 and 4.
It means a small opening of time where you can fit something in. I think I can fit you in. I have a small window on Friday morning. Part 3, making plans, social context.
Okay, David, we have the grammar, we have the adjectives. Now let's actually make a plan. Let's pretend we are friends. Well, we are friends, but let's pretend we are trying to organize a social hangout.
Okay, in a social context, we want to be casual. We don't usually say, I would like to schedule a meeting with you, Anna. That sounds too formal.
Right. We use phrasal verbs. The king of social verbs is hang out.
Do you want to hang out this weekend?
Or simply, let's hang out soon. It means to spend time together with no specific goal, just relaxing.
Another very common one is meet up. Let's meet up for a drink. We should meet up at the park.
And specifically for food or drinks, we often use the verb grab. Do you want to grab coffee? Let's grab lunch. We should grab a bite to eat.
Grab a bite. I love that one. It implies a quick, casual meal, not a fancy 5-course dinner.
So let's do a role play. Listeners, pay attention to the flow. David, invite me to do something this weekend.
Okay. Ring, ring. Hey, Anna, how's it going?
Hey, David, I'm good. Just finishing up some work. What's up?
Not much. I was wondering, are you around this weekend?
Yeah, I'm around. I don't have any big plans. Why?
A few of us are going to grab some pizza and maybe see a movie on Saturday night. Do you want to come?
That sounds fun. What time were you thinking?
Probably meet up around 7 p.m. at the pizza place on Main Street.
7 works for me. I'm in.
Awesome. I'll text you the details later.
Great. See ya.
Scene. Short and sweet.
Let's look at a few phrases there. You asked, are you around?
Yes, are you around is a very low-pressure way to ask, are you in town or are you free? It's very casual.
And I said, I'm in.
I'm in means yes, I will join. It's the opposite of I'm out.
And note that we didn't use at or on too strictly because we were speaking quickly. But David said meet up around 7. Around 7 means maybe 6:50, maybe 7:10. It's flexible.
Part 4, making plans, professional context. Now, let's put on our suits and ties. We are going to the office. The language changes here. We need to be polite, clear, and efficient.
Definitely. You won't hear, let's hang out in the boardroom. Instead, we use schedule a meeting, set up an appointment, arrange a call.
And when we ask about time, we often use the phrase, does time work for you?
This is the golden phrase of business scheduling. Does 2 p.m. work for you? Does Tuesday work for you?
And the answer is, yes, that works, or no, that doesn't work for me.
Another very useful phrase is pencil it in.
Ah, I love this one. Let's pencil it in for Monday.
Why a pencil, David?
Because with a pencil, you can erase it. If you write in pen, it's permanent. So if we pencil it in, it means the plan is tentative. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but we are holding the spot.
Exactly. It's a placeholder.
Let's try a professional role play. Anna, you are my client. I need to schedule a review call with you.
Okay, I'm a busy client. Impress me.
Good morning, Miss Anna. I'm calling to schedule our quarterly review. Do you have some time next week?
Hello, David. Next week is looking pretty tight for me. My schedule is jam-packed.
I understand. I really only need about 30 minutes of your time. Are you available anytime on Thursday morning?
Let me check my calendar. Okay, I have a window between 9:30 and 10:30.
Great. Could we do 9:30?
9:30 works for me.
Perfect. I will send a calendar invite shortly to confirm.
Thank you, David. I'll look out for it.
Seen.
Very professional, David.
Thank you. Notice the phrase, next week is looking pretty tight.
Tight is similar to packed. It means there isn't much space to move.
And the phrase, I'll send a calendar invite. In modern business, if it's not on the digital calendar like Google Calendar or Outlook, it doesn't exist.
So true. Always confirm with an invite.
Part 5, canceling and rescheduling.
Okay, this next part is maybe the most uncomfortable part of scheduling. Sometimes life happens. You get sick, your car breaks down, or you just have too much work. You have to cancel.
This is culturally tricky. In English-speaking cultures, especially the US and UK, we value punctuality. Canceling at the last minute is considered rude unless you do it very politely.
Right. You can't just say, I'm not coming.
Please don't do that. You need a formula. Apology plus reason plus suggest new time.
Let's start with the phrase, something came up.
This is the best vague excuse. If you don't want to explain exactly what happened, maybe you just want to sleep. You say, I'm so sorry, but something came up and I can't make it.
It implies an emergency or an unexpected event.
If we want to change the time, we use the verbs postpone or reschedule. Can we reschedule for next week? We need to postpone the meeting.
There are two great phrasal verbs for moving time, push back and bring forward.
Visualizing the timeline is helpful here. Imagine time moving from left to right. If a meeting is at 2 and you want it later, at 4, you push it back. Can we push the meeting back an hour?
And if the meeting is at 4 but you want it earlier, at 2, you bring it forward, or sometimes just move it up. Can we move the meeting up to 2?
But the absolute best idiom for social cancellations is to take a rain check.
We mentioned this briefly in the intro, a rain check.
Origin story. In baseball, if it rained and the game was canceled, spectators got a ticket called a rain check to come back for a future game for free.
So today, if I invite you to dinner and you can't come, you say, I'd love to, but I'm busy. Can I take a rain check? Maybe Friday?
Totally, Friday works. Good luck with your work.
See the difference? The good version keeps the friendship safe.
Part 6, Pronunciation Corner. Before we wrap up, I want to touch on pronunciation. There is one word we have said a lot today, schedule.
Oh, the great debate.
In American English, we usually pronounce it with a K sound, schedule, like school, schedule.
Correct. I say schedule, but in British English you will often hear schedule, like a shed in the garden.
Both are correct. It just depends on which accent you prefer, but stick to one. Don't switch back and forth in the same sentence.
Also, let's look at linking sounds. When we say meet up, we don't say meet up. We connect them.
The T becomes soft. Meet up, meet up.
And hang out. The G connects to the O. Hang out, hang out.
Doing these links will make you sound much more fluid and natural. Part 7, Listener Challenge and Review.
We have covered so much ground today. We are definitely not running like headless chickens anymore. We are organized professionals.
Let's do a massive review of the key terms. I'll say the definition, you, the listener, think of the word. Then Anna will say it. 1. A preposition used for specific clock times, like 5 o'clock.
At.
2. To have absolutely no free time, to be extremely busy. Starts with S.
Swamped.
3. An idiom meaning to accept an invitation later.
Or, if you are lucky, my schedule is wide open.
And try to send a text message to a friend in English to make a plan. Use, do you want to grab coffee? Or are you free on Saturday?
Practice makes progress. Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Exactly. Even native speakers double book themselves sometimes.
That reminds me, David, we actually have a meeting scheduled right after this recording, don't we?
Let me check my calendar. Oh no, you're right. It's in 5 minutes.
See, even the experts forget. We better run.
Thank you so much for listening to the Daily English Practice channel. We appreciate every single one of you.
If you found this episode helpful, please leave us a review or share it with a friend who is learning English. It really helps us grow.
Have a wonderful, organized, and happy week.
Bye, everyone.
See ya!